How do I get you? You just go to participants?
No, it's letting me record. I recorded. I'm starting
Okay.
recording now.
Okay. Sorry. Uh, anyways, I started, once you're in this elite group, you see all these coaches that have big teams and they're super crafty with their little systemized everything and these graphics. And you start thinking you have to do all these things. And you see these, as Beachbody organization has grown and grown and grown and grown, you see all of these, great things. You think you need to do them all. You start doing them all because they're like, oh, this motivates my team. And then you're just spread out. And honestly, I got over fucking whelmed. And I was trying to do everything and I just couldn't. And so people kept telling me to do it. And I understand that many of you probably are not in this position, but I want you to entertain this idea and maybe put it on your dream board, your goal board, is to get a fucking assistant. Okay? I'm going to tell you, that's what changed everything. Number one, last year in 2015 was the worst year of my life on personal levels because of old childhood issues, marital issues, family issues, codependent issues, alcoholism, all sorts of different things. But in 2015, I just stopped doing everything because I'm one of those people, and maybe you can relate, that whenever you get overwhelmed, you just don't do it. Or maybe you pick the easiest thing because it's just so frustrating. I have a super bad anxiety, super bad depression that really started kicking into high gear at the end of 2014. And many of you didn't know me then, didn't know the story, maybe don't care, maybe don't understand because you didn't have depression, but it really kicked my ass and I let a lot of things go. So I knew that I didn't want to go anywhere in this business. I knew that I wanted to stay in here. So I kind of had no choice. If I wanted to start building relationships with people, if I wanted to ease myself back in, I had no choice but to get an assistant. And I hired one of my good friends who's actually Becky, our upline's assistant, who I actually know, Nancy, to be my assistant because I literally hadn't done anything. I barely even logged into the Coach Online office because I literally couldn't even get out of bed after Summit. But Melissa Galmay was helping me, and but I hadn't done anything, so I had to get an assistant. But once recently in the last month and a half, having my assistant get systems set up and get me caught up from everything, honestly, from May of last year into the end of the year, I feel caught up. And I realize now the biggest part of having an assistant, what it is she takes care of the busy work. Is she sends me every Friday morning or whatever, or the second of the month, the Success Club points that you guys and your team members have made, the PV that you guys and your team mates or your personally sponsored coaches have made, so that I can recognize all of you, because those are the things that are important to me. And those are the things that I see you guys all thrive on. But I couldn't do that on top of maintaining relationships with you and maintaining relationships with my challengers and like having new relationships, with potential people. And that's when I just got completely disconnected. And I don't want to do that because I love this business, because it would have been easy to just quit when everything was a mess. And I've always quit everything. Like literally, this is the longest job I've ever had, but it was important to me. So I had to do something. So this is something, as I'm watching so many of you guys grow and grow fast, I want you to understand that, like, get some systems in place. Like for me, I'm telling all my new coaches, set up a new email before you sign up that goes right. Everything is there for your coach stuff. So it's not mixed in with your personal email, because I just did that the other day. And right now I have like 200 something emails in my personal email that some of them are Beachbody. I literally want to just dump it and go away, but I can't because some of them are important. So those are the things that I think as you get going in the business are important to tell people that you wish you had been told. I wish I had told Gabriel that. I wish I had told Melissa Bartow that in the beginning, but I didn't know. I didn't know any of those things, I wish I had told Melissa Galmay the same thing, because she took off really, 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 really fast, just like I did. I wish I had done those things. And those are the things that I didn't. And I'm not going to beat myself up for, but these are things that I'm telling you that maybe it will make things a little bit easier for your team, is telling these things. And the biggest thing I think is remembering where you came from and where you started off, because that's my other thing that I've had a lot of time to think about, is that I've been so disconnected that, I thought Melissa Galmay hit, 5-star elite, and I saw her video of Jenna's first birthday. And I remember how active she stayed when she was pregnant. I saw her video for Jenna's birthday, and it was like, this bitch was everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to be, like her. I'm like, because she's so much fun. And I was like, dude, that's the way I used to be. I used to have enthusiasm. I used to be going places. I used to be excited about my life. I used to be excited about being home, and then it became just normal. And then I started just posting about me in my workout clothes, not wearing makeup. And then I thought about it lately. You know what? That's our life. That's so awesome. Gabriel can understand it. Melissa Barger can understand it. Sam can understand it. Melissa Galmay can understand it. That is freaking awesome. So many of these people who are, maybe on your lunches now or worked in the corporate world or still work in the corporate world, that sounds awesome now. But really what we're putting out to people sometimes is that like there's women out there who are like, oh my God, I don't work. I'm stuck with these kids all day long, and I, can barely get my makeup on and dressed and out the door to the grocery store. I realized that that's my market of people, and I was putting out that you would be able to do the same exact thing that you're doing. Obviously, there's a process that you have success in this business, and then you get to enjoy this. But I know that what I'm portraying now, that you work at home from a computer and you don't wear makeup and you don't leave your house for 5 days. I mean, seriously, sometimes I don't leave my house for 5 days. That was not appealing at all. That would have not been appealing to me 4 years ago. 4 years ago, my husband was gone 7 days out of a week, and I was like, if somebody doesn't talk to me, right now, and I'm going to go freaking crazy with these kids, And so the thing is, remember what you're putting out there. And so that's what I'm saying is that be intentional. And that's one word that Melissa Galmay always uses since she was like, be intentional, is that some of this shit can happen if you're very open to social media and if people trust you and you're honest, you can just have pretty much overnight success. But then it's sometimes a mess, like for me, like and now I'm trying to have to go back and be business minded. I've always taken it seriously, but I really was not a business person. I couldn't see myself as, and this year my goal is to make sure that I am doing this as a business. So if you are, I know there's some of you people who are like seriously like rising rock stars that are brand new, they're on this call because you want to be there. I'm telling you, have some systems, learn from me. And, Becky didn't tell me these things. She was always systematic. She had these spreadsheets, but in her mind, she may have just thought, it's no fault to her, but in her mind, I'm thinking she may have just thought everybody did spreadsheets and was super organized and that I would understand that. And I realized myself, there's things that I just think that everybody else knows to do. And I didn't know that. So I have been having to go back to remember what my life was like when I first started. I saw in my challenge group, somebody talked about what type of oil to use. And I was like, well, of course you just use olive oil and coconut oil. I was thinking in my head, and I was like, oh, I remember I had no clue about those things when I started. And it's so easy when you're 2, 3, 4 years in, and you're like Christina Lewis always has awesome recipes and these amazing things. And I don't know what it's like for her, but I'm saying once you've been living this life, it just comes second nature and you stop sharing it. And that's one thing that me and my success partner noticed, is that while we were, she's like 5 years in, it was Amber Scott. She used to be a top 10, 2-time elite, but she was like, I'm not enthusiastic anymore. And so that's one thing that I've been trying to do within the team, is make it the enthusiasm to get excited, because it's one of those things. I was always going to go to Super Saturday. I don't care if there was not one in Houston or Austin. I would drive to Dallas if I had to. There's non-negotiables. And there's people that have been in this business, with me, alongside me from day one, that they understand too that it's non-negotiables. But there's other people who won't drive across town to an event or something like that. So the thing is, I've noticed that since I've gotten enthusiastic, there are people who have been coaches, silent coaches, who are now posting more in the group and Team Relentless. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but I saw that enthusiasm. I see that everybody's cheering each other on. I see that I'm getting that family feel back in Team Relentless that we had back in 2012 and 13 and early 14 when things got started. I literally forgot what my life was like until Amber and I started talking about that. I forgot what it's like to pack my lunch. I just forgot what it was like. I just remember that I hated my employer or my supervisor, Kay, and I honestly would never want to sit across the desk from her again and watch her just be miserable. But other than that, I don't remember what it's like to work. So then I'm not relatable. And Amy Silverman said that on the National Wake Up Call Day. Nobody can relate to her success. So the thing is, you have to sometimes, if you're having trouble figuring out your target market, if you have a problem, connecting with people, maybe it's that your life that you're putting out there is not relatable right now. So you have to go back and share your story. But what I want to do, hold on, I got to turn my steamer off. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So, anyways, I just wanted to share those things with you because I know that there's people here that can relate to me in the business as long as I have or around there, and new people that I want to help so that you're not, you're either number one, not in the same shoes as I am 4 years later, or at least you can be prepared for it. But what I wanted to do is have your guys' thoughts on how often you want to have these mastermind calls, because I can't do this alone. You can't do this alone, and you shouldn't do this alone. And that's why we're called Team Beachbody. I have been running things to help the team out for years, and I'm getting a little more systematic. I will continue to do the Team Relentless calls on Tuesday nights because it's consistent, because I get guest speakers on there that are that I know will help you guys. It's not just geared towards everybody, but it's actually for all of the leaders and the people on the team. But I do suggest that as your team starts growing, because we have 3 and 4 and 5-star teams on our within Team Relentless, is that you host the same. You don't have to do everything Diesel Nation does or do everything Team Relentless does, but to take some ownership. But I also want you to still feel like you're part of Team Relentless and help. And for me, as a leader, I watched that me and Becky and Christina, when we started Team Relentless, that was kind of like that third leg that just kind of, the 3 of us were just made it explode because I was the missing link. But we shared duties with stuff, and that's one thing I'm asking that for help, because I literally am overwhelmed, and I am super overwhelmed. And as the team grows, I'm going to be even more overwhelmed, and I can't do it all. And I want, like Melissa Galmay and I've been working very close together for the last 2 years, that when there's a training, we take turns doing it. When there's calls, we help each other out. When there's people added to the group, whether it's from Melissa Bartow's team or, somebody, Leslie added or I added or whatever, she's always the welcome wagon, the first person in there to do that. I'm asking everybody to band together because we are all one team, and I'm asking you to share some of the duties. I've watched what other coaches talk about in the elite group, and I've watched these teams that are close, and I'm watching what we're doing inside of the Diesel Nation with the elite coaches. But I thought it could really help all of us if we maybe took turns, and this also helps you become a leader and step up, is that I'm proposing we do a coach basics group, a coach basics 4-week group, for training for new coaches or coaches that want to be refreshed on the coaching basics, or coaches who have been discount coaches for a long time and all of a sudden want to do something with this business. Because like Amy Schupak is one of my coaches, who's been a coach for like a year, and one of her goals that she finally felt comfortable sharing in my personally sponsored coach group that I just opened up was that her goal was to be a more active coach this year. I never knew that. And she's been posting more Team Relentless. So I thought, some of these people might want to now, as they feel comfortable, be in the coach basics. But for me, it is absolutely exhausting to run groups. Like in October of 2014, when Lindsay Sims and Christina Lewis was in there, we had like 50 or 60 people in that group. And I had a coach survival group and another group and a challenge group and Team Relentless. And I was running all those groups, like basically on my own, like answering questions, trying to remember, and then trying to keep track of where everybody was and recognize them. And I was literally going freaking crazy. So I thought that maybe as we have all these upcoming, rising leaders and diamond coaches on our team, that maybe we could take turns, like have 1 4-week training that is consistent, because that's what my team has not had, is consistency, besides the Team Relentless call. Is that like on the first Monday of every month, we have a coach basics group. Month 1, May does it. Month 2, Melissa Galmay does it. Month 3, Gabriel does it. Month 4, Christina Lewis does it. Month 5, Brooke does it. 6, Melissa Bartow. 7, Sam, whatever. You see what I'm saying? But we can all put our people in there, and we all help, because obviously if say Gabriel's month of doing it and I have 5 coaches in there, I'm not just going to dump 5 of my coaches in there and be like, have fun having Gabriel train you, because she's going to build, they may not have connection, or they'll build a relationship with her or whatnot. But I thought we could work together to do that. Same thing is that I too have, I've set the calendar on the group photo page on Team Relentless for the last 3 months, that every month I was going to do a coach expo. Every month I was going to do a clean eating. Every month I was going to do a free challenge. Well, every month, one of them I haven't done, and people are asking me, oh, when is it opening? And I'm just so overwhelmed that I haven't done it. And so then I feel, God, I suck. I'm letting everybody down. But I just want to know what everybody's thoughts were about collectively working together. If you have your own system in your own team, that's fine. But I also know there's some of you newer coaches out there that might, and it just would take a load off of me, and it would band our team together. And especially if you're training new coaches, if they saw all the leaders' faces in there, I think it would be pretty encouraging for them to realize that they're not alone and that it's safe to post in Team Relentless, because they're going to have the help of all of you guys and all of your coaches in there. I saw Jennifer, new coach, Terry Ann or whatever, like she is like on fire. Like she's like nuts, so like on fire already as like a new coach. And like, I want that enthusiasm. And I think it's because she saw the enthusiasm in the team that I wanted her to feel that it's safe. Did anybody have any thoughts? You can unmute yourself or raise your hand and I'll unmute you.
So I have some ideas, but first I just wanted to take a second to say, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, Mindy. Like, I started this journey because of you. Like, you heard me and I was a stranger and you never gave up on me. And I think you need to remember that you didn't fail us last year. Life happened and it was fucking hard, right? And we all have shit that happens to us. And at the end of the day, you didn't give up on us. And so I don't want you to keep feeling like you need to apologize for anything, because you created Team Relentless for us. You fostered this environment that we felt safe to come in and start changing our lives. And so it was really hard for me to sit there and listen to you say all those things, because you're a badass and you have helped change my entire life. So I'm just going to leave that right there. A couple of the things that I had ideas for is in February, I want to try a 15-day new coach training. It's something.
Is that a new one or the one that Christina Delgado's torqued over the years? Is that the one you're talking about?
That's what I want to use.
Okay.
It's something new, and I kind of was going to collaborate with my leaders, but if anyone here wants to maybe just post in the team page some topics that you think that we should cover. One thing that I think that I know we can be better at is training our coaches to understand Success Club and the leadership ladder. And so that's what I'm working with my team this week, is really talking about the leadership ladder. And a couple weeks ago, I had opened up my personally sponsored page too, because there's certain things that you want to be able to communicate with your team and get their feedback on or recognize them. And so I highly encourage everyone to do that as well, like Mindy said. But I mean, I think there's so much in the 4-week training that people get lost and they feel overwhelmed and they don't know. And so then, like today and the one I'm doing right now, I just went in and asked, instead of posting something, what are some things that you still feel like you still need to know? And honestly, they were pretty simple things to us, but clearly I haven't done a good enough job at teaching this, so these people feel like, how do I do a proper invite? And for me and you and Leslie and Melissa and Sam and Chris and Gabriel, we might think, okay, like I've told you like a million times how to do an invite. I've showed you the 5-step sales process. Or the invitation process. I posted examples, but there's something that's still not sticking for people. So I'm just trying to think, how do we get better? Because the brutal facts of our reality is leadership and changing it to work it for different styles of people. We're still going to have those people 6 months down the road who are still asking those same questions. We're still going to have those coaches who are afraid to dive in and don't believe in themselves. And so that's what I'm envisioning for a Coach Basics, is really empowerment, Success Club, the leadership ladder, and really teaching those things that will help them hit the ground running.
Yeah, I think that I get so discouraged, and I know that Gabriel and I've talked about this, and you and I have just talked about this, and most Sparta and I have talked about this before, is that you put all this time and out, even though wouldn't do it. I have an assistant who does it, but like you put all this time into posting all these posts in these coach training groups, and then nobody says anything after like week 2. I mean, you're lucky if you get through week 2. So I'm like, oh my God, like, and so that's why one of the things was, well, at least if I could share the burden of it, where somebody else was doing it. But I think, maybe doing like a beta 15-day one might work, or, I don't know. I've been thinking about what's worked, and I thought the same thing. Like, I got on a call with Brandy Backus the other day, and I was just explaining stuff to her, and I remember those calls that you would call me for the moment and ask me a question, when Gabriel would be like, hey, I need this help, and we would get on the call, we end up talking for 30 minutes, and then it was like she got it, and you guys felt important when I was taking the time to talk to you about it. And I think that that's so important. These training groups are wonderful. They're great for people who are like systemized and have like no distractions in their life. But honestly, that like personal stuff really helps. And so that's why I thought that would be great. And I don't know about all of you, but I'm having a hell of a time. Some of these coaches messaging me via text or private messenger instead of posting in the group. And then I feel like a total bitch saying, people post in the group again, but like for me, I highly recommend, to start encouraging people to do that. What did Sam say? Or did you say, Sam? The post. Yeah, I agree. The groups are just crazy. And the length of the New Coach Basics 2.0 thing is awesome, but it's like you have to read this big long post. My ADD, that doesn't work well for me. And then you have to watch video, and then you have to do a thing, and people have a hard time. So I don't know if we can on a next call kind of come up with an idea. But also I like what Leslie said about the leaders, is that maybe we could all come up with a schedule where
I feel like instead of having like Mindy do 1 month and Melissa do 1 month, because even some of our own personally sponsored coaches are going to connect with other coaches. So if Mindy did Monday,
right,
Melissa did Tuesday, and Leslie did Wednesday, and Avery did Thursday, then they get to learn different things from different coaches. And I honestly feel like if somebody would have given me a step-by-step instruction on what to do to begin, it would have been way better to get people like excited and positive. So I think personally it would be great for like the first week of a Coach Basics is literally like giving them instruction on exactly what to do. Like today you're going to post your workout and a meal, and then the next day you're like, okay, you're going to take everybody that liked this post and send them this private message, and that's how you invite. So
that's a really excellent idea. And the call's not ready to end, so go back and just click on the link in if you want to rejoin, or if you have to go do something, that's fine. That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, so if you're like, do this today, this is what you're going to do, this is what we do as coaches every single day, and that's what they do like the whole first week. They're just learning how to post and learning how to invite. And then the second week you can go into what is Success Club, what is your why, and then the third week can be like a push to emerald sort of a thing.
Because the first week is like the why and your story, and a lot of people they don't feel like they have a story yet, and their why is like, my why didn't really become deep until like 9 months in. What were you gonna say, Gabriel?
Actually, just what Leslie led into about the third week. This is going to be like a short 15-day thing, like a Monday through Friday, 5, 10, 15, whatever. Like the third week being the push to emerald, kind of like made me think of the push to diamond group, where actually we could have it set up to where we don't have to once we do it once, it's like set up to go. Like our thing about what we say each day, and then you make a nice little short video actually like also talking about it. Like I said, so it's I think
that
audio
sounds
and
great.
visual, and like to reach
the
all
video is great.
Like the video, but have both, have the YouTube link to the video that kind of briefly discusses what you just typed out and talked about too. Because I know for me, like if I read something that's like more than like a paragraph long, I check out. Like it's too much. And so I think we could even have that saved to where we set it up and